Hey, what's going on, guys? This is JD Moon, and I'm coming at you guys with another Magicka DK build video. This is going to be my Secessionist build for the Dragonhold patch. Now, I know a lot of you guys have watched the stream, been like, yo, JD, what are you wearing? You know, like, you're one and two shotting people and things like that. So I kind of want to dive into the build and also go over, you know, what I'm wearing for sets. And how CP's set up and all that good stuff, and kind of give you an idea of how I'm playing the build currently, because it is low sustain. It's a very low sustain build, so you're gonna have to get heavy attacks in there. So this build is pretty much designed to nail a heavy attack and just smash somebody in the face. So that's kind of what it's designed to do, and I'm gonna go ahead and jump into what I'm doing here. So let's go ahead and dive into the build. Here we go. Alright, so for gear, what I'm running here is I have a medium Bloodspawn helm and a heavy Bloodspawn shoulder. Both of these are going to be end pin. Both have tri-stat glyphs on them. As well as I'm running a robe, a chest of Succession with glove succession. Both of these are in-pin, as well as having tri-stat glyphs on them as well. And then I have a belt, shoes, and pants, all of spinners. I do have one Magicka glyph on here. These pieces, you don't need to have tri-stat glyphs on them. I normally just run tri-stats on everything, but you can have max Magicka glyphs on these as well, and they'll work just fine. So, and then on the jewelry, I've got all purple rings of succession. I'm still running protective. In my opinion, in light armor, 3 protective is still the way to go in PvP. Even though they nerfed it, I don't see anything that's better. I mean, you can run infused if you want, but I mean, at the point where you're gonna run infused, I would just go arcane, because I feel like arcane's that nice median between damage and sustain. So, but I still personally think that protective is the way to go. I just think it's overall better. I am running 3 spell damage glyphs on this setup as well. On my front bar, I am running a Spinner's Inferno Staff. It's going to be infused with a weapon damage and spell damage glyph. If you want to run Dragonhold up here, that's fine. I light attack a lot. I also heavy attack a lot. It goes really good with the combo of this setup and the way that I run my abilities with this setup, so it worked really good for me. But so, like I said, if you want to run a Dragonhold staff, you could. Infused is going to give you more damage with the Berserker enchant when you have it procced. But Dragonhold is going to give you more. It's basically a more reliable spell damage. But I mean, I'm always light attacking. I'm always making sure that the enchant's up, so I don't really have a problem. Typically, if somebody's keeping me on my back bar, at that point, I'm already in trouble. But that's also why I run Dragonhold on my back bar. So it actually works out really well, because then I can proc this, and then if I need a big heal, I can proc it and then go to my back bar with the Dragonhold and just smash away a really strong heal. So I do run 2-piece willpower on the back bar. It's gonna be stronger than this 1-piece spell damage that you're gonna get from spinners. So I would definitely suggest running willpower on the back bar for a better heal. It's just gonna give you more. Especially now that they buffed willpower in this last patch, it's just going to be more healing that you're going to achieve. Even though we all know the scaling with max Magicka on heals sucks, it's still going to be overall more heals, because it is essentially more than 129 spell damage to your heals. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on here. So yeah, we're running willpower on the back bar. I'm running reinforced shield with a Dragonhold sword. Again, let's just go ahead and go over everything. Here is going to be in-pin, except for my reinforced shield on the back bar. Always going for more resist when I can. All of these pieces are going to be in-pin. Everything's going to be, I'm running 7 in-pin on the body. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to buff up so you guys can see the spell damage that we're sitting at here. So on the front bar, we're going to be at 3181. Now with the enchant procced, you're looking at 3822 spell damage on the front bar. This is before Secession procs. So let me dive into what Secession is for those of you who don't know. Overall, it's got some of the best 4-piece stats out of any 5-piece set in the game. I mean, it's right there with Spinners. Spinners is, again, another one of those, one of the best, if not the best 4-piece for Magicka damage in the game. So this is going to allow you to achieve basically the same thing that you're achieving off of Spinners with that one as well. So you're going to get 2 max Magicka. I'm trying to see where... Anyways, you're going to get 2 max Magicka off this one here and 1 spell damage, okay? So 2 max Magicka, 1 spell damage. And then also on the Spinners, you're going to get 2 max Magicka, 1 spell damage with the pin. Succession, now what this does, this is a very interesting set. So whenever you deal, this set used to really suck. Now they buffed it and it's really strong. So what it's going to do is whenever you deal flame, shock, or frost damage, it's going to give you 537 spell damage to that element for 4 seconds. It's really, really strong when you're applying a dot, because if you apply a dot, so I run 1 dot, if you apply a dot to somebody, it's going to keep that constantly up the whole time that dot's on somebody. So, because it's going to just sit there and reproc every 4 seconds. Reproc, reproc, reproc. Especially when you put embers on somebody, they increase the duration of embers, even though that was a nerf to embers, but what that does is just allow us to keep Secession up, especially when we're fighting multiple targets. So it's really, really good in that aspect. as well as the heal is going to also get increased by the amount of damage that you're dealing with embers. So keep in mind, it keeps track of all the damage that you're dealing with embers, so it's gonna give you a much bigger heal on that as well. So it's really cool. So let me kind of dive into what I do on this setup. So what I'll do is, if you notice, I'm not running entropy or degeneration. So what I'm running is molten armaments, and what molten armaments is going to do is it's going to increase my fully charged heavy attack damage by 50% while it's active. So I'm going to smack somebody really hard with a heavy, and then I'm just going to fly in with a leap, and that's typically a one-shot on your really squishy targets. If they don't block it, that is a one-shot, and it will blow somebody up. So let's go ahead and go over let's go over stats real quick before we dive into anything else. So our max Magicka. Oh, here my food went down. Hold on, let me go ahead and get the food up real quick for you guys. So I'm running Bewitched Sugar Skulls. So anybody who knows how I can play with low Magicka recovery. So I'm running at 679 Magicka recovery. Let's go ahead and drink a pot so you guys can see where we're sitting at. 782 with a pot, 1010 health recovery, and 830 stamina recovery. This I don't have a problem with. Anybody who watches me play, they know that I sustain off of drinking a pot on cooldown. And I also sustain off of using ultimates. Instead of saving my ultimate to kill somebody, I use my ultimate for sustain. That is how, DK has been played in the past. I don't run high sustain builds. They're not my style. You know what I mean? I enjoy playing DK how I play it. I don't really care if it's the best way to play it or not. It's just how I enjoy playing it. So stats on the front bar, we're looking at 36.8 max Magicka, 26k health with 20k max stam. Spell damage buffed up is going to be 3181 without the proc. With the proc, you're looking at 3822 spell damage, and that's before Secession. If you have a resource buff or any kind of continuous attack buff, you're going to be hitting right at 5,000 spell damage. To your whip, to your leap, to your embers, you're going to be hitting like a truck. You're hitting very, very hard. I'm sitting at 39% spell crit. I also have 21,588. That's unbuffed. So buffed up. Sitting at 26,838 spell resistance, 21,658 physical resistance with 25,31 critical resist. On the back bar, we're looking at 30,247 spell resist and 25,000 physical resist. This is all before Bloodspawn. With Bloodspawn proc, you're going to be just about over cap on both. So you shouldn't, I like to be at cap if I possibly can, but once you've maxed out, your physical and spell resistances as much as you can, then it's good to go ahead and move towards critical resistance at that point. So let's go ahead and dive in a little bit further. So we're looking at 11,776 spell pin before LE Drain and also before the staff passive. So keep in mind, we're also ignoring 10% of the resistance. From my understanding, the resistance ignore is going to get applied first, and then you're going to be hitting them with your pin. So that's how that's applied as far as I know. Now, as for the boon, I'm running the Apprentice. That's my stone for 238 spell damage, and then I'm running, as I said before, Bewitched Sugar Skulls. It's going to give you 3937 max health, max stamina, and 3622 max Magicka with 393 health recovery. Very, very, very strong max stat pool. Highest max stats you're going to get in the game. So let's go ahead and dive into what I'm doing here for CP. So in CP, I'm running 51 points into Elfborn. I'll go ahead and explain why in just a minute, why I'm running 51 instead of 56. So it's going to give us 19%. I'm running 56 points into Elemental Expert, 41 points into Spell Erosion, and I'm also running 50 points into Staff Expert and 72 points in Master at Arms. We are not running anything in Thaumaturge. You don't need anything in Thaumaturge. Dots suck. They absolutely just nerfed the shit out of dots. There's just no point even trying to buff them because they're just not even worth it, in my opinion. As a matter of fact, I don't even have any points in fucking dot resistance at this point because they're that bad. They literally over nerf dots. They're just not even a point to even using them right now in the current meta. So I have 50 points in Staff Expert. The reason why I did this was it's going to give us 26% increased damage on our heavy attack that we're already getting a 50% increase. So I wanted to do the 122 for Tactician in case I dodge roll people. You know, anything somebody's doing, I could dodge roll it, and then I can hit them with a whip proc because I'm running the other morph to whip. So I'll go over skills after we're done with CP. 72 points in Master Arms is going to increase our direct damage attacks by 23%. We're running 51 points into Elfborn, again 56 points to Elemental Expert for 12%, 41 into Spell Erosion. So that is our full blue tree. Moving on to the red tree, I have 56 points into Ironclad for a 20% reduction in direct damage, 39 points into Spell Resist. It's going to be 3315 extra spell resistance. I've got 25 points into Resistant, 38 points into Light Armor Focus. Why do I not have 39 points into Light Armor Focus like I have all the others? Because I wanted that 120 in Resistant just to get this extra little 627 there, you know, for that extra little passive. So we're running 56 points in a Hardy and 56 in an Elemental Defender. You don't absolutely need this passive, in my opinion. Why not grab it? You know what I mean? If I take 1 point out of here and go put it in here, I mean this is going to be blocking more damage than the little bit of resistance I'm going to get from that. So moving on, I have no points into the Lord. As you guys see here, this is how I have my my CP tree set up for resistances. In my opinion, it works the best. If you guys have other ways of setting up your resistances, by all means use it. That's just how I've got mine set up. So on the tower tree, we got 1 point into Siphoner, so we can apply that status effect. 72 points into Warlord for 23% break-free cost reduction. 19 points in Mooncalf, 43 points into Arcanist, 7 points into Healthy. If you wanted to go ahead and pull these points out of Arcanist, that's fine. You're not really getting a whole ton of recovery in putting those points into Healthy here, because I'm not a vampire. I don't play Vamp. I think Vamp is a complete waste of time. You take way too much damage from fire. It's just not even worth it. And the health recovery, I'm sorry, but having a high health recovery in a fight, it actually keeps you from having to heal a lot. So I would rather just keep my 1,000 health recovery than lose it to be a vamp and get a couple extra regen. Like, I don't need the additional regen. It doesn't affect me. So anyways, 56 points in Tumbling, 72 points into Shadow Ward for that reduced block cost. If you want to run 72 in here to get the reduced dodge roll cost, that's fine with me. I don't dodge roll a lot. I block more than I dodge roll, so I like the Shadow Ward. Oh. Pardon me. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over skills real quick. Alright, so on the front bar, we're looking at Flame Lash. I found that Flame Lash is still better for comboing. If you want to use the other whip, you can. It's more sustained damage. But the problem that I was running into when I was using that whip was the fact that everybody knows when you're going to be using your combo. You know, they know when you're getting ready to combo up. They know when that whip's getting ready to go off. And so a lot of times if somebody wants to CC you and back up, they can get away from getting hit by the whip proc. Because remember, it only lasts for a very specific amount of time. I think it's about 4 seconds. Not a very long time. So if you're fighting a good player, they're going to have enough time to move out and get away from your whip proc. Especially if you use it. Yes, I know if you use it and you miss, you can use it again. That is a wonderful thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But to be completely honest, it's not really that good, because the fact is, if you've used it and you miss, now you've just wasted 2 seconds. You have 2 seconds to go ahead and hit another Ardent Flame ability and hope it hits somebody, unless you're using Engulfing Flames, and hope to keep that proc up. So, in my opinion, I feel like the other morph it's still just better. The healing from it is just better. Burning Embers, I'm still running it, even though it sucks. I'm still running it for the extra healing. When you're outnumbered, Burning Embers is nice. I am running Elemental Drain. It's really nice to hit a really tanky target with almost 20, 20k spell pin. It's nice. It hits really hard. Fossilize, even though they've nerfed it, still the best CC in the game. I'm gonna continue using it. As always, Inner Light on my front bar for that extra crit rating and the increased max Magicka. Also running Ferocious Sleep on the front bar as well. If you wanted to switch this out with Meteor, completely understand. I do that from time to time. The combo with Meteor up here with Fossilize is just, it's a really good combo. The only problem is, if you throw a Meteor on somebody, they dodge roll out of the range of your Fossilize, you're kind of fucked. So this is really nice for when somebody dodge rolls. You can CC him anyways, get your whip proc off, kill him. Back bar, coagulating blood, running race against time. Sometimes I switch out to wings. Wings is nice. Volatile armor, running once again molten armaments for that extra heavy attack damage. Cauterize. Cauterize should be a mainstay on every Magicka DK's bar if you want a 1vx in Cyrodiil. Unless you're using shields. If you're not using shields, you need to be running Cauterize. If you are running shields, go ahead and run Flames of Oblivion. It's really strong, even in 1vx. But to run Flames of Oblivion, I feel like you're going to have to run shields. And then I switch between Shooting Star and Standard. Really depends on what I'm fighting. Like if I find myself and I'm playing, there's a lot of guys with a lot of healers on, I'm going to switch from Shooting Star over to Standard Might. If I'm in a small group, I'm going to switch over to Standard Might. If I'm not in a small group, I find Shooting Star just to be better, and I'll typically put it on my front bar when I'm 1vxing. So that's the setup for the Secessionist. I really like it. If you guys are ever wondering like what you can change, so if you're trying to duel people and stuff like that, just even in like 1v3s, I find that Shadowrend it just performs better in a 1v3 scenario. Bloodspawn's really nice whenever you're fighting in small group. Bloodspawn is just hands down the best. Bloodspawn, in my opinion, is just the most versatile. If you're not used to fighting with Shadowrend, it's going to kind of change up your playstyle a little bit because you're not going to be getting those ultimates a lot, but it will increase your sustain. But you do get additional damage from the Clan Fear. That Clan Fear actually does hit really hard. So a lot of people don't realize that. Like, the Clan Fear does hit, and it's also applying minor maim. So, I mean, it's something to think about. The Clan Fear is really good. If you decide to go Shadowrend, I would suggest it. It's not a bad set. I still use it in open world Cyrodiil as well. Most people, when they find me, oh, you're in a dueling build. No, I'm not in a dueling build because it works really well in 1v3, 1v4. Works great. So anyways, that's the Secessionist build. I hope you guys enjoy, and I also hope you guys enjoyed the footage as well. So I will see you guys out of the battlefield. Thanks for watching.